a mateship test. That's what you're going to get in this video. I'm going to give you 4 examples where you can test out who is in your life. And it's not like you're lining your mates up and saying, hang on, man, how you going to... This is something that you can observe, okay? Because there's nothing worse than being in the wrong environment or having one bad apple in the bag of apples. You get what I'm saying? I'm privileged enough to live half my life, more than half my life without social media and then half with social media. Both have been a privilege. But I think this is a common thing for a lot of men that don't even realise they've been hoodwinked into, is that they're looking to attract followers opposed to friends. I've heard this a couple of times in the last little while. Is people have lost their social media accounts and realised they've got no friends, or people they thought were their friends are no longer. So you need to listen to this, all right? You need to listen to this because you really want to know who the heck is in your corner. And even last night I was at the boxing gym with my younger son and I was just giving him a couple of pointers. And it just changed everything for him. You know, he had a better experience. He achieved more than what he has the last couple of weeks, but did it easier. That's the value of having a man in your corner that can see things that you can't. So, like I said, 4 things, I'm going to talk about today, and you'll be able to look at your own life and think, hang on a minute, am I doing the right circle? Am I in the right circle of people? And for me, loyalty is just at the top of the list, and it's always been that. Before I even knew what loyalty was, before I even heard that word, before I even knew what values were, loyalty is always at the top of my list. And I guess I got it from my parents. But the first thing I want to talk about, okay, when it comes to testing things out, I remember I had a pressure situation, all right? Without going into the whole lot, I was running events at the Gold Coast Casino, and it would always cost around $28,000-$30,000 to have a 4-hour event. I'd sell a whole heap of tickets and then obviously make a profit, so then you keep going. Anyway, they were changing managers through this period. This is probably, I don't know, maybe 12, 13 years ago. And I remember having, I suppose, a bit of a growing period, and they were changing managers a lot. So the deal was you got to have everything paid up before the event. Sweet, awesome. So I remember this one, I had 2 events before were a bit tight, so I was kind of like, I'd gone from having this much money in front of me to this much money in front of me, And so anyway, I had this event. It was like $28,000. I'd already paid them like $25,000 around that of the day. And so they rang me on the day and said, your event's cancelled. And I've got 600 people coming. I had a whole heap of bunch of money. I had $20,000 coming. Anyway, so they rang me and said, your event's cancelled. I'm thinking, oh my goodness. Everyone's coming, everyone's ready to fight, like they've told their friends, their family, everyone's coming, 600 odd people. And I was thinking, how am I going to do this? I'm going to have to stand at the front door and tell everyone, listen, we're giving you, no, that's right, because I couldn't even give them the money back. That was the problem, because I'd already given that to the casino. I'd already given them all the money. So I said, it's a little bit tight, So I'm thinking, I've got to stand there. I'm going to have to tell every person the event's cancelled. I'm going to get the money back to you. I'll refund it, just not now. I'm thinking, so it was like a bit of a test. Who would stand there with me? I'm thinking, there's going to people turn up drunk. They're coming to a fight night. They I thought, who the heck's going to stand there with me? I thought to myself, I can't ask anyone that I love to stand there. I'll have to do this on my own. And then I told, obviously, a close friend, he goes, mate, I'm with you. And we're going, such and such, we'll stand it, we'll do this. I said, no. Anyway, long story short, it really made me think about who is actually in my corner. Who will take a fall with me, Long story short, people, obviously there's a lot of money coming out. I said, mate, can you pay that now instead of today? Not a problem, Gav. Transferred the money, whatever. All good. Hunky-dory. An amazing event. But it made me think, so under pressure, and this is maybe something for you, what has caused, like through pressure, the real you comes out, the real friendships come out. So I think about those couple of men who were ready to stand with me, right? Still friends today, long time later. But it reminds me of that scripture, where your treasure is, your heart is. And where is your treasure? Is your heart because the treasure's there, or does it follow? And this is the second thing, okay? Number two is really when times are tough financially, where is your heart at? And there's been times throughout my business career, boxing career, family career, where I'm a very much a vision man. So I'll go after things, and I've learned to create and work things out on the way. Vision is always bigger than my ability. That's how you grow into it. And sometimes it's been bigger than my bank account. I remember a mentor saying to me years ago, Gav, you got to be prepared for things to cost twice as much and take twice as long. Sometimes I've been prepared, other times I haven't. But there's been a few times throughout the last good while, 20 years or so, where I've had to say to mates, hey, listen, I'm in a spot here. And it's just a test, really, where blokes have, before I've hung up the phone, they've sent me, look, the transfer's gone through. Man, that's a friend. That's a friend. You know, that's a friend. So pressure is the first one. It'll bring you, you'll find out who's in your corner when the pressure's on. Money's another one, where the treasure is, their heart is. You know, heart's for me, obviously, for them to turn up. And I think the third thing is about time, because sometimes when you don't see people for a while, it's like you lose, that bond is lost. Whereas I remember one guy, I says to him, and we've been mates since 2008, and I remember this is probably, oh jeepers, 2021 or something. He's supported me, helped me for years. Whatever I've needed, he said, I'm there. You know, he's done stuff that, you know, it's just an amazing fella. Old school. And country boy at heart. And I remember I was running an event, a rite of passage, and I spoke to him, and then 2 months went past, and it's next week. I thought, oh, geez, I haven't spoken to him for a bit. And I rang him up. I said, mate, you all good? He goes, yeah. We already spoke about it. Of course I'll be there. Just because I hadn't spoken in a couple of months meant nothing. He goes, mate, I'll be there. I'm there. Thought, it makes no difference to that fella. If I don't speak to them for 2 months, it doesn't matter. It's exactly where we pick things up. Well, where we drop things off, we pick them up, you know. So that's a good one. So pressure. Look at your relationships. Do you grow stronger under pressure through relationships? And when it comes to your heart, your treasure, are the people in your life generous? Is money just a tool to serve the relationship? Huh? That's one. Or are they selfish? Okay. So, fourth one, distance. Because, you know, it's a bit like time, but distance as well. I had a couple of mates. I'm on the other side, this is the last couple of years, over the other side of the world. Gavin, coming to visit you. Or one guy said, hey, listen, I'm going to run an in-person rite of passage. I'm there. Before I'd even asked him, he goes, I'm there, I'll help you. What do you need? Yeah, that flew the other side of the world. That's what I'm talking about. Distance means nothing. I want to get real clear on this, okay? So write this down. Pressure brings you good out, brings you not so good out. Money, okay? Where the treasure is, your heart is. How people, relationships when it comes to money. When it comes to time, you know, if you don't see him, is that it? Is it over? Or does it make no difference? And distance. Because when you have the right people in your corner, man, none of those things make any difference. And if your relationship, your mateship, or other relationships are contingent on whether it be the time, the money, or the distance, well, they're probably not as close as you thought they were. Because I've been, I'm sure you have as well, been in relationships and maybe it's been a little bit more one way than the other, or it's just not what you thought. Or I always like to say, people come into your life for a reason. People come into your life for a season. People come into your life for a lifetime. I had a good mate, which sort of provoked me to make this. I had a mate come up to my hometown. He lives 2,000 kilometres away. We've been mates for 30 years. And he's another guy who come over to Europe as well. Nothing's ever a problem, but we were talking yesterday. We're talking about stuff over the last 30 years, and we've been like that the whole way, but he's just solid. He's just solid. Does what he says what he does. Like, literally, he's like family. And talking to one of my girls, and like, he knew me and my wife before we had kids. It's amazing. It's amazing. But this is something maybe to think about, particularly what I would say, like what I'm doing with these blueprints, okay? This Better Man blueprint. It's a closed room. So what makes for a closed room? Because somewhere in your family you have a closed room, or in your business you have a closed room, or maybe there's certain areas of your life you need a closed room, but to have that inner circle, those people in your corner. So this is the thing, okay, when it comes to what are the things that you can talk about with these guys, with these solid guys, that you can't talk about with anyone else. So look at the conversation. You always go off the principle, loose lips sink ships, okay? Do you trust these people that you've got close? Can you trust them with anything? A couple of these guys, I literally trust with everything. Everything. There's not really anything I don't hold back, When it comes down to, I think when you're building these friendships, lifelong friendship, that's what I want to build. Start friendships that go the distance, and maybe even with your family members, you need to be talking about these things. Where are we at? Because seasons change, or even just maybe it's in a circle with friendships and mateships. This is something over the years I've learned. I've said to a couple of particular guys, mate, I need a guy in my inner circle. That's been probably one of my greatest strengths, is to be, I don't like the word to say humble, but I'm not ashamed to say, man, I need you. I need somebody. Are you the guy? Because I have trusted the wrong people. And that's just swung me out. I've got to know you're with me. If you're not, it's okay. I just need to know. I don't think it's a bad thing. So something that I'm doing with these Better Man Blueprint is having closed room sessions. We're doing a closed room. So the stuff that we talk about, we're not going to talk about with everyone else. You know what I mean? Like, we need to do that, gentlemen. If you're going to go the distance, you've got to have trusted men in your life. Otherwise, man, you won't make it. I don't know anyone who makes it on their own. Or maybe if you want to go and live in a cave on your own and die a miserable death. But I'm sure that's not you if you're still listening. What I would suggest is I've been running these blueprints, okay? It's a Better Man Blueprint. What you learn here, and some of it comes from the Bible because it works, goodness me. It's worked for thousands of years. And we'll see what sort of blueprint that you've been maybe handballed, you've been given. I'm going to show you maybe how you can modify the one you got so that you can raise other men up, so that you can build a family, a community, a business, a legacy that serves not just the next generation, but the one after that and after that. Gentlemen, this is the best time on planet Earth. But if you play your cards right, man, it'll be the best time of your life. You play your cards wrong, you're probably going to end up lonely, broke, unhappy, etc. But you just let me know if you want access to that closed room, and we'll go from there. All right, ciao, over and out.